Iran just lost control of the Strait of Hormuz. Not to the United States, not to Israel, not to any of the Gulf powers that have been circling this waterway for decades. To Ukraine. Let that land for a second. A country that 4 years ago was being buried in Russian missiles, that was losing cities, losing coastline, losing ships. That country just deployed its drone operators into the Persian Gulf, signed decade-long defense deals with Saudi Arabia, the UAE, and Qatar, and told the world that its sea drones are coming to the most strategically important waterway on Earth. If you want to understand exactly how this happened, why Iran has no answer for it, and what it means for every barrel of oil that passes through the strait, stay right here, because this changes everything, and almost no one is covering it. Here is what most people missed. Ukraine's transformation from a survival story into a global defense exporter did not happen by accident. It was forged in 4 years of the most brutal, technology-dense warfare the modern world has seen. Russia hit Ukraine with advanced electronic warfare. Russia jammed its drones. Russia deployed its full naval capability in the Black Sea, frigates, missile cruisers, submarines, the flagship Moskva. And Ukraine, which had no traditional navy to fight back with, built something Russia had never prepared for: unmanned surface vessels, autonomous naval drones operating in coordinated swarms, guided by targeting networks that gave Ukraine a complete picture of Russian naval positions. By March 2024, a third of Russia's Black Sea fleet had been destroyed. Not by the Ukrainian Navy. Ukraine effectively had no navy. By drones. The same class of drones that just got cleared for deployment to the Strait of Hormuz. And if you think what Ukraine did in the Black Sea was extraordinary, wait until you hear what the specific system heading to the Gulf can actually do, because this is where it gets alarming for Tehran. The platform is called the Mura V7. It is not a prototype. It is not a concept being rushed into production because of the Gulf crisis. It has been operational since 2025. It has combat history, and its specifications should make every IRGC naval commander deeply uncomfortable. Cruising speed, 23 knots. Top speed, 39 knots. That number matters because 39 knots is faster than most of the IRGC fast boats currently operating in the Strait, the very boats Iran depends on to swarm and threaten commercial shipping. The weapon designed to terrorize tankers can be outrun by the drone designed to stop it. Range, 800 nautical miles. The Strait of Hormuz is 100 miles long. A single Mura deployment from a Gulf state port can cover the entire strait multiple times over without resupply. Payload, 650 kilograms, over 1,400 pounds of explosive capacity. Enough to obliterate an IRGC fast boat. Enough to severely damage a larger Iranian naval vessel. And as NATO war games conducted in September 2025 confirmed, enough to simulate the sinking of a NATO frigate. In those exercises off the coast of Portugal, the Mura V7 played the adversary against NATO surface forces. 5 scenarios, 5 engagements. The Mura won all 5. In the most significant engagement, it locked onto a NATO frigate's radar system without being detected. A simulated kill against a fully alert Western warship with a trained crew specifically trying to stop it. Iran's fast boats are not NATO frigates. They are smaller, slower to respond, and operating in a waterway where the Mura's endurance gives it a persistent presence that manned Iranian vessels simply cannot match. Now, here is the detail that nobody in mainstream media has touched, and it is the single most important development in this entire story, so do not click away. On April 19th, Ukraine achieved something that had never been done before in the history of naval warfare. It used a naval drone as a mothership to intercept an aerial drone at sea. An interceptor drone was launched from the deck of a Mura-class vessel in an active operational environment against a real Shahed-type threat. The interceptor climbed, locked, and scored a direct hit. Drone launched from a drone, at sea, in combat. First time in history. And this achievement is not a laboratory result. It was filmed, documented, and released publicly. Why does this matter for the Strait? Because Iran's entire aerial threat strategy depends on Shahed drones approaching commercial tankers from multiple vectors simultaneously, overwhelming static shore-based defenses. Shore-based defenses work for fixed infrastructure, ports, facilities, refineries. A tanker moving through the Strait at 3 in the morning cannot call for shore-based support fast enough. But a Mura V7 sailing alongside that tanker in escort configuration can. The Shahed appears. The Mura detects it. The interceptor launches from the sea surface. Direct hit. The tanker keeps moving. And if an IRGC fast boat attempts to exploit that moment and close on the convoy, the Mura transitions to surface engagement mode at 39 knots faster than the boats closing in, with a machine gun variant for direct fire engagement or a 650-kilogram warhead for a more decisive outcome. One autonomous platform simultaneously managing aerial threats and surface threats in real time. That is what is heading to the Strait of Hormuz. That is what Iran has no counter for. And here is why it is already too late for Iran to stop this before it begins. Ukraine did not just sell drones to the Gulf states. It signed decade-long binding defense agreements, not letters of intent, not memorandums of understanding, with Saudi Arabia, the UAE, and Qatar on April 19th. 10 years of sustained defense cooperation, formally committed, legally binding. And beyond those three, Zelensky announced that 11 additional countries across the Middle East and Gulf region have formally requested the same arrangement. The deals are not one-directional. Gulf states are providing Ukraine with crude oil delivered to European refineries for conversion into fuel for Ukrainian military and civilian use, financial assistance, and in some cases, direct provision of missile interceptors that Ukraine urgently needs for its own defense. Ukraine is not being treated as a charity case. It is being treated as an equal partner, a country that has something genuinely valuable to offer and is getting full value in return. That structural equality is what makes these deals durable. They are not crisis arrangements that dissolve when the immediate pressure eases. They are the foundation of a decade-long security architecture in which Ukraine is a primary provider, not a dependent. Here is the piece that reframes everything else. Over 200 Ukrainian drone experts are already operating in the Gulf right now. Not in advisory roles, not writing reports in hotels. Directly intercepting Iranian Shahed drones targeting Gulf infrastructure. Operators, engineers, and tacticians who spent years in Ukraine under Russian electronic warfare, Russian counter-drone systems, and Russian air defense, refining their techniques in real combat against one of the world's most capable electronic warfare environments. They are already in kinetic contact with Iranian aerial assets in the Gulf. That fact has received almost no coverage in Western media. And it means that when the Mura V7 drones arrive, they are not landing in an unfamiliar environment requiring months of integration and setup. They are arriving into a theater where Ukrainian operators already understand the specific threat picture, have already worked alongside Gulf state military personnel, and have already identified the precise gaps in Strait defenses that the naval drones are designed to fill. The deployment does not start from zero. It starts from 200 experts, months of live operational experience, 3 signed 10-year agreements, and 11 more countries requesting the same deal. Iran's entire Strait strategy rests on 3 pillars. The first is Shahed drone swarms against commercial shipping, cheap, slow, but difficult to intercept when approaching from multiple angles simultaneously. The Mura, with interceptors, breaks that pillar completely. Mobile, sea-based, capable of engaging aerial threats from any vector in real time. The second pillar is IRGC fast boat operations. Swarms of high-speed, small craft converging on a target, forcing a defending vessel to split its attention across multiple simultaneous threats. The Mura breaks that pillar, too. At 39 knots, it matches or exceeds most IRGC fast boats, and it engages on their terms, without a crew that can be killed or captured. The third pillar is Iran's submarine fleet, 28 to 30 vessels capable of mining the strait and threatening surface vessels from below. Ukraine's naval drones demonstrated in the Black Sea the ability to locate and disable a submarine in active operational conditions. The same platform that intercepts aerial threats and engages fast boats has a validated anti-submarine track record. Iran built its asymmetric doctrine to defeat conventional navies. What is coming is not a conventional navy. It is a distributed, autonomous, multi-domain system specifically designed to operate in exactly the kind of threat-dense, cluttered environment the Strait represents. The IRGC built its doctrine against one kind of adversary. The adversary that is arriving is a completely different kind. There is a geopolitical layer to this that is bigger than any single drone or any single deal. For decades, the security architecture of the Gulf has rested on one primary guarantor: the United States. American carrier groups, American air bases in Qatar and Bahrain, American diplomatic weight shaping every security arrangement in the region. That architecture is intact, but it is being supplemented, for the first time, by a partner that offers something the United States cannot: combat-tested, operationally validated, asymmetric drone expertise, developed against a peer-level adversary in 4 years of active conflict. No NATO member has that. Not the United Kingdom, not France, not Germany. Ukraine has it. And the Gulf states, who have watched their oil revenues collapse by billions of dollars as Iranian drones and fast boats paralyze transit through their vital waterway, understand the value of that expertise in a way that no briefing document could convey. The United States, notably, was not present at the 35-nation security summit where Zelensky dropped his straight hint. America is running its own blockade of Iranian ports, costing Iran an estimated $500 million per day, while simultaneously trying to reopen the strait. Those two objectives are not perfectly aligned, and Ukraine is not waiting for alignment. Zelensky said it plainly: if the U.S. does not want Ukraine's involvement in the strait, Ukraine will not chase approval. It will build the partnerships that do not require it. The deals are signed, the experts are deployed, the drones are coming. Ukraine entered 2022 as a country the world was preparing to mourn. The forecasts were weeks, some said days, before Kyiv fell. 4 years later, that same country is the most sought-after defense partner in the Middle East. It is the country that broke Russia's Black Sea fleet without a navy. It is the country that invented a naval drone capable of defeating NATO frigates in war games and intercepting aerial drones from the open sea. It is the country that Zelensky is now positioning not as a recipient of global support, but as a provider of it, a country that other nations are depending on for their security. That transformation from the most vulnerable country in Europe to an indispensable partner in the world's most strategically important waterway is one of the most remarkable military and diplomatic stories in modern history. We are tracking this story every single day, and we are updating our analysis daily as new developments emerge. The next update may be the one that tells you the Muras have arrived. If this analysis gave you something that the mainstream news missed, share it with one person who needs to understand what is actually happening in the Strait of Hormuz right now. Drop your answer in the comments below. Do you think Iran will attempt to directly destroy a Ukrainian drone deployment, or will it absorb the loss and recalibrate? We read every comment, and your answer shapes what we cover next. And if you want the daily update the moment it drops, not tomorrow, not in a week, right when it happens, make sure you are subscribed. The next development in this story will not wait.